Welcome back to On Texas Football Game Week, baby. Let's get it going. What a beautiful thing. Thank you guys for joining us here at On Texas Football. We're going to talk what I figured out today where Ohio State's going to start in this matchup offensively versus this Texas defense. And I think that's the kind of matchup people are paying a lot of attention to because that Texas defense is obviously one that's loaded. I'm going to tell you what the one thing I'm kind of I'm a little concerned to see if Ohio State will try to exploit this early for Texas because we're going to see it early. All right, we'll get to that because I'm already deep. I'm sorry, guys. I'm deep in my breakdown already. I'll get you guys' thoughts about it. But first, let me introduce the crew. I got my man Bobby Burton, the man, the myth, the legend, joining us, as well as the estimable Jerry Hamilton. The show belongs to you, the people. So hit us up. Any questions, comments, we'll try to address as many of them as we can. Super chat, jump to the front of the line. You can interrupt the show at any time. Please throw out a super chat. We'll also Texas by 50, Sandman feeling good. All right, yeah, I guess we can start taking predictions if you want to do that on the game as well. We can take some predictions on the show too. All right, we're ready for anything. It is game week. All right, guys, before we start diving into some of the other subjects, because I know there's some topics you guys want to get to as well. One thing I was thinking about in this game, right, is that the main factor, the most important factor will be how Texas takes away Jeremiah Smith defensively, right? We all agree with that. And to do that, it's not going to be simple, but I assume they're going to keep a lot of too high safeties, a lot of too deep safety coverages, try to keep a safety over the top of him. The problem with two deep safeties is, just to talk about math and football, guys, it means you got to play with a lot of light boxes. Texas defense has been really good at stopping the run with light boxes the last couple of years. Actually one of the best in college football in the last couple of years because they've had the D tackles to do it. Brandon Bryden, Alfred Collins, Byron Murphy, T'Vondre Sweat. Man, you can stop the run with light boxes with guys like that. This actually is going to come down to being a big test because Ohio State has to test that, is going to try to exploit that for that interior defensive line early in this game. I'm just going to tell you because I know Texas is going to keep somebody over Jeremiah Smith early and keep a shell on the defense early on. And it'll be interesting to see if the Ohio State run game forces Texas' hand and force them to bring that guy down into the box and therefore changing the numbers in the passing game and in the run game. Because they're going to test that early. That's one of my theories. Just starting out. I'm already doing my breakdown.
I agree, Rod. I agree. I think they're going to run it at Colin Simmons too.
I would.
They're going to run it against the interior of the Texas defensive line because they don't know. Texas may not know yet what Texas has on the interior, right? All new faces. Now, it may not be what they want, but they're going to run against the interior too. But I agree that, look, Ohio State has a great receiving corps. No one has any questions about that. I think that they're going to try to establish some level of a run game and then push hard to Jeremiah Smith and get him some matchups, Rod. They just have, he's such a good player, dude. Such a talented player.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, I want to say the reason I think they're going to run it at Simmons early is to try to get him on his heels and to try to make him run as much as he gets to rush the passer and right out of the gate. And look, they're going to test Simmons, see where he's at year two. He was not a full-time player for Texas last year. Is he going to be able to play 60 snaps in this game? Is he going to be able to hold up against the run? I think they're going to try to slow down Texas' best pass rusher, and they're going to run it right at him early in this game. I think they're going to test him.
I like that, Jerry, especially if his hand's in the dirt more. If he's going to be down in a three-point stance more, if he's going to be getting, down in the, nitty gritty a little bit more, if they will say, then I think they'll test it. I like that idea. It just makes sense schematically. If you're looking at how Texas is going to go into this matchup, they should go into it taking away their strength. Their strength is that receiving corps. Yeah. You want to keep DBs and you want to win the numbers advantage in the passing game. And that means you'll probably have to be at a disadvantage with the numbers in the run game. And that lends itself to Ohio State testing that out a little bit. Matchup predictor here. Wow. Texas right now at 53.3%. Looks like a lot of people favoring Texas in this matchup right now. I still think the line is Ohio State by 2 points.
Oh, it's
Down to
down
1.5.
to 1.
It's
1.5.
fluctuated between 1.5 and 2 all weekend. That over under, people are hammering the under because that's gone down to 47.5. But it's kind of fluctuated between 1.5 and 2 throughout the last 3 or 4 days. So more money's going to Texas right now.
Hey, they both had veteran quarterbacks a year ago, right? And Will Howard, who had started 2 years at Kansas State, and Quinn Ewers, who had started 3 years at Texas. And they combined for 42 points, one of which was a pick six or a fumble six or whatever you want to call that, right? And they combined for 42 points. Ohio State last year had the number 1 ranked defense in the country in points per game, yards per game, red zone efficiency, yards per play. And we all know Texas had a darn good defense. Both teams expect to have really good defenses again this year, and they have new quarterbacks in this game. So that's why people are hammering the under. I mean, even though Ohio State lost a lot to the NFL, I mean, Texas lost pretty heavily to the NFL too. 3 defensive linemen, 2 defensive backs in the first 2 rounds. I mean, I think that's why, to Jerry's point, people are hammering the under because it could turn into – I hope it doesn't turn into an Iowa State, Kansas State type game, which is really, really ugly, I thought, for the first half. But that's all possibility, Jerry and Rod.
Yeah, if you're predicting a style of the game right now, nobody's predicting shootout. Most people are starting to predict like, all right, there's going to be a feeling out process by both these teams. Jerry, you said it. You think of one kind of big play, maybe a non-offensive touchdown, special teams play. So I'm going to blow. It could be a crazy turnover, blow this game wide open, and something unexpected. That's the way it could go as well. So I don't think anybody has a clear feel on exactly how the game's going to go, but nobody predicting they're just going to come out here against Texas defense. And even the Texas offense, people are high on Arch Manning. People think the offense is going to be good, but nobody predicting it's going to come out first game, guns a blazing, and look like an elite offense out of the blocks.
Yeah,
Ohio State on the road.
I'm gonna make one prediction for this game. You will not read an ESPN headline that Cooper Manning and Hyde Manning were throwing punches in the stands after the game.
Did you hear about that, Rod?
Hold up. Who was throwing punches in the stands?
Avery Johnson's dad and older brother were throwing fisticuffs after the game in the stands.
At one another.
At each other.
At one another.
Oh, no, that can't be true.
They issued an apology publicly.
Oh, no. Oh, no, I missed that. Family shame.
Yeah. We're not going to see. We will not see Cooper and Hyde throwing down in the stands after the game. That's my prediction.
What was did they reveal what was the argument over or what happened? We know what it was about?
Probably Guinness. Probably had a lot of Guinness.
Oh, that is crazy. We sincerely apologize for our actions following yesterday's football game in Ireland. Senseless bickering escalated into an unnecessary fight. We have resolved our differences and take full responsibility for our actions. We have apologized to our immediate and extended family and now extend our apologies to Kansas State University, its alumni and fans who regret this incident. We have learned from it and are committed to ensuring it doesn't happen again. Oh, man. What was Mom?
Oh.
What was Mom at?
No.
Oh, man. Damn. I didn't know that. I feel bad for him, actually. I know that's funny, but I do feel bad for him. That shouldn't have. That dirty laundry wasn't meant to be aired publicly. You know what I mean? Come on. You know what? That wasn't just about whatever it was about, by the way. That's some deeply rooted stuff, man, going on. Mom was filming.
that is Jerry's. By the way, Jerry's lying. That will not be his only prediction for this game. we're gonna coax a score prediction out of him at some point in time.
By the way, for the chat, who knows when Ohio State's last home loss in a season opener was? For the chat. First one to answer gets a nothing.
they get nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah. No, I think that look, knowing the answer because Jerry shared that with us. We'll wait till somebody gets it. But my thought process on this game with Texas and Ohio State, I do think it's going to be. It sets up as a low-scoring game, right? Because of all this defensive stuff, all the new quarterback and pieces to it. But doesn't this also feel like a game that's not going to go according to plan for anything? Like, it's such a big battle, right? That you think you know things, and then you're going to just be proven wrong by them. I mean, I get a little bit of that feel, like, because last year, frankly, we knew these two teams. When they played, it was Texas' 16th game of the season. We knew Texas and how they were going to play that football game. Didn't necessarily know how it would turn out, but we knew how they would approach the football game. We don't necessarily know how Texas is going to approach this football game with Arch Manning at quarterback. I mean, we don't. And so I feel like as much as we talk about all these topics, there's an element of uncertainty there on both sides.
Both sides.
Yeah, and I'm not just talking about Texas, but are they going to play more of what they did last year? Mm-hmm. Are they going to be somewhat fundamentally different? In Ohio State's point, they've got two new coordinators. So they could be fundamentally different. Texas has most likely a different style of offense with a different quarterback. That's the answer, Todd.
Todd Lacey got it. Ohio State's last home loss in a season opener was the Miami Hurricanes in 99, 23-12.
That's awesome. It's
a long time.
A long time.
Yeah.
It's a great trivia question. And good job, Todd, getting that, because I wouldn't have got it. All right, let's thank our friends over at Rogue Shop first, before we dive into some of the questions and the super chats, talk some more Texas Ohio State, because with all the layers to this game, we can break this game down every day for the next 6-7 days, and still not get all the details. But thank you to our friends over at rogueshop.com. We appreciate them as well. Use the discount code, you see it right there on your screen, on Texas, and you'll get a very special discount from our friends over at Rogue Shop, bringing real plant medicine back to its roots. Make sure to use that code, like I said, on Texas, and you can get a very special discount. They have it all, from oil and creams to flour and gummies and vitamins. No matter what you're dealing with, maybe it's sleep deprivation, maybe it's general anxiety, maybe for you it's just the aches and pains of battling Father Time, or maybe from your playing days, whatever the reason may be. It's unimportant. What matters is that you get the help you need, and Rogue Shop can do that for you. Rogueshop.com. And like I said, I actually had it recently. A member of the On Texas football family tell me that they now love the items over at Rogue Shop because they're helping them get better sleep, because they were having some sleep deprivation issues, couldn't get a good night's sleep, and now thanks to Rogue Shop, they sleep like a baby. So that could be the same for you. Give them a try at rogueshop.com. Thank you very much to our friends at Rogue Shop. Let's hit our first super chat of the night. It is from Todd Lacey. How about this from Todd? Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Says, who are your players of the game on offense, defense, and special teams versus Ohio State, and your surprise players as well?
Well, I'm going to pick all Longhorns. How's that? Y'all good with that?
Yeah, you damn right.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Arch Manning, Colin Simmons, and Jack Bomeister as the offense, defense, and special teams. Surprise players. I'm going to take one out of Jerry's hat and say Jelani McDonald. And I'm going to go with DeAndre Moore. DeAndre Moore, he's not necessarily the focal point. And so because of that, even though we think he's a good one, I want to go with DeAndre Moore. What do y'all think?
Offensive, I'm actually going DeAndre Moore too. We're gonna
go offensive MVP or surprise?
Offensive MVP.
I went Arch MVP.
Yeah, I think I'm going DeAndre Moore. Defensively, it better be Colin Simmons. Special teams will be it's kind of a combo, but Boomeister.
Okay. What about your surprise players?
Alex January.
Ooh, interesting.
That is good.
Rod B, what do you got, man?
I like your arch ones because it's hard to go with, a receiver and say like, oh man, it's not, if he had a great game, then who's delivering him the football? It had to be Arch. So I'll kind of I'll work you through my thinking here. I'll go Ryan Wingo for the sake of, kind of keeping it spicy here. I'll go Ryan Wingo, but he has one of those big reverses.
Oh.
In addition to, them big, so he gets a big chunky arch play on a reverse somehow, which Sark is big on, especially in big games. That's one of his signature plays. And because it's one of those games where we don't think it's high scoring, they're just clutch plays. We're talking about third downs, and then to about contested catch situations where it's not always the most accurate ball. Just give your guy a shot and he goes up and makes plays, red zone, stuff like that. So I'll say Ryan Wingo. Defense, oh man.
MVP.
Yeah. I'll go Anthony Hill. Seems like that's an easy way to go.
Let me ask you this, Rod. If we walk away with this and it's not Colin Simmons or Anthony Hill, does Texas win the game? Don't they need
it could be in the secondary. It could be those 2-3 targets in the secondary in critical moments where the right guy jumped the right. Exactly. Taft Daddy jumped it. He knew it. Even watching film, Jelani McDonald, those freaky interceptions he has where he's contorting his body and some Cirque du Soleil catch. I can see it easily being done in the secondary because all you need is 1 or 2 plays in the secondary and they stand out for everybody. If there's an interception or a big time play. I like that injuries one too, though. Injuries that's one to look into on offense. We didn't think about that injuries one. I like that one. But yeah, I'll go Anthony Hill. That's a safe bet. It's just safe because they're gonna try to run the ball, I think, to try to exploit the numbers disadvantage. And he also is gonna be able to make some plays, either rushing the passer or also dropping back in coverage a few times as a help defender, probably on Jeremiah Smith. Yeah. So special teams. It'd be nice if somebody blocked that kick. I don't know if it'll happen. It's actually early games is probably when you're supposed to see a block kick.
Yeah.
I was on one of those teams. We had several of them early on in the season when we weren't buttoned up necessarily. All it takes is 1 or 2 guys not used to that speed of the game, a little nervous on the road, something like that. So Texas could block. They could block a kick. I don't know if they in that game, but I would say early. Baumeister is probably the best option because I've heard good things already about him. And man, if the defense had a weapon that could flip the field for him, man, how good could that defense really be?
Who do you have as your surprise players for this game in particular?
I like that Jack Andrews when somebody said, I don't know if they was talking about MVP or whatever, but that's a good one. Talk about best tight, maybe one of the best tight ends in the country. We ain't talking about them enough. In that game match, think about last year. What won the game for Texas was finding a matchup that worked for them. They found Jaden Blue on that linebacker. Let's go. All they needed was 2 big plays, and boom, they changed the game with them. All you need is, to find the right matchup with a guy like Jack Andrews. They'll probably try to put a linebacker on him, maybe another safety on him. We could see. But that would be interesting. So I like that. Surprise players, Jack Andrews. Not that he's a surprise for me. All right, Todd. Thank you for that question.
I'm going to bring this up real quick. Is there an official depth chart out yet? No, there is not. We'll see if Ryan Day releases one tomorrow in his press conference. I guess I'll be surprised if Sark does. He hasn't the last 2 years until day of game. So that would be a pretty big change for Sark to release a depth chart tomorrow or even before the day of game.
Yeah, that's no advantage to it, right? What's the point? Unless you can do it the day of the game and make sure that, no team's able to necessarily prepare for a specific depth chart or not. All right, thank you for that. Spank B with a super chat. He says, "Hey, Jerry, was it me or was St. Francis more physically developed than Chaminade Madonna?"
Well, I think that's – look, I said going in that Chaminade was overmatched in that game. St. Francis may actually – them or Modern Day may be – I mean, Modern Day is probably your pick, but St. Francis could be the second best high school team in America. I mean, that's – I was pulling up. Zion Ely, the edge, committed to Maryland. Jarrett Edwards, the safety, committed to Bama. Cornerback committed to Penn State. Linebacker committed to Syracuse. Safety committed to Maryland. Safety committed to Auburn. I mean, it goes on and on and on for those guys. 3, 4 D1 offensive linemen. That was an extremely talented football team. Like, they may be able to beat anybody in the country on a given night. They're that talented of a team. So Derek Cooper, his team, they were overmatched. They were overwhelmed talent-wise in that game. Chaminade Madonna is also a smaller school. But the thing when you play the South Florida teams is, unless it's a STA, they normally don't have the offensive lines in those games in South Florida. Quarterback play and offensive lines are rare for them to have that many elite offensive linemen in those games. I mean, the majority of your offensive linemen in that state, from doing Under Armour camps for years, they all come from Tampa, Orlando, North Florida. So sometimes in those matchups, they just get a little overwhelmed. They have to win on skill and playmaking outside of STA in South Florida.
When you say STA, you mean St. Thomas.
St. Thomas Aquinas, yeah.
Which is a long-time powerhouse in the state of Florida. I watched a little bit of it. Look, Derek Cooper, y'all, I mean, I know there are a lot of people out there. I'm taking him anytime I can. Really, really good player. Doug Haywood is asking about the Diabell. He had a comeback victory on Friday night that Jerry discussed. They were down 28-0 at halftime, Rod. Diabell came back. They won 31-28. So a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, Dia, who'd tell you himself he struggled in the first half. I mean, and wasn't struggle. His offensive line was getting demolished in that game, which I kind of, when we were talking about that Friday, I said they don't have the offensive line in American Heritage they used to. For whatever reason, offensive lines in Florida, they don't have the high-level dudes right now coming through those schools on the offensive line like they used to. I mean, American Heritage, there was a point in time where they had 3, 4 D1 guys and that were power 4 guys on their offensive line. They're not there right now. But Dia had a ball slip out of his hand that was a turnover. He was trying to make a play, had a fumble. He had a couple of fumbles in the first half. He was 6 of 13 for 33 yards after the first drive of the second half. He also got hit on his elbow. I don't know if people that watched the game, his right elbow was swelling over the course of that game. But in the second half, after that first series, they got down 28-0. He was, 14 of 23, 14 of 24 for about 198 yards and a touchdown, made some big runs. He played exceptionally well when his team had to have him. And after the offensive line started giving him a little protection, they got some things figured out. But once they gave him a little protection, he made a number of big plays. And Brandon Bennett, their number 1 receiver, committed to FSU, did not play in that game.
All right, good stuff, Jerry. All right, let's get to another super chat here. Oh, one thing says, how would a 50-year-old Mack Brown do with NIL, portal, and everything else? He would still be Coach February, or would he recruit nationally more? That's a good question, because Mack was the last coach, and you guys let me know if I'm wrong, because you guys know recruiting better than me. Kind of the last coach to pretty much be able to monopolize the top talent in the state of Texas. And he had it for a few years. And then when Texas was could no longer brag about being the best football program in the state, which basically after 2010, you couldn't necessarily brag about being the best football program in the state because you weren't necessarily winning the most games of any program in the state. I think that sales pitch kind of died out for Mack. and he couldn't. And then A&M had their big run and helped, Baylor, Art Browse, and that kind. He lost that kind of stranglehold he had to be able to choose the top talent and everybody else take the leftovers. Now he was now getting in recruiting battles with everybody, and that was to me that's what I felt like the difference. But what do you guys thoughts about?
I have no clue if he would recruit nationally more. I kind of doubt it because it didn't play into his shtick.
Mm-hmm.
To your point, Rod, about being staying home more. Mack Brown is just a good recruiter. The thing about good recruiters is they find a way no matter what the things are.
Yeah.
And so he would be just as good today as he was back then, in my opinion, in just a different way.
Yeah. I think he'd have been the best there is in college football. And I think he'd recruited, I'm not saying nationally, he definitely recruited the Southeast more.
He would have.
With Texas in the SEC.
That's why he did. Look, Mack, he may never say it publicly, but I know what he said privately. He didn't recruit the Southeast because he knew that at the end of the day, he wasn't going to do what some people in the Southeast were willing to do.
That's right.
That's why Texas didn't go and recruit Georgia, Alabama, Florida, Mississippi under Mack Brown. It wasn't. I mean, they did a couple players, but it wasn't. He just knew what that was going to come down to at the end of the day, and he wasn't going there. He didn't need to back then.
All right, good stuff. Next question coming up here is from Daniel. Says, can we talk OSU D-line versus Texas O-line? How do we match up? Honestly, that's one of the best matchups in this Texas-Ohio State game because they lost damn near the entire starting group.
They lost them all.
They lost all. So they got guys who rotated and guys who have starts, but they don't necessarily have a starter coming back on that D-line. And Texas lost 4 starters on their O-line.
Yeah, a lot of Ohio State on the interior this year. I think Eder Houston, the 5-star 2 years ago, the recruit out of Buford, that's a big one for them. Obviously, Caden McDonald's back. He was a reserve last year. Kenyatta Jackson at edge was a reserve last year out of Chaminade Madonna, teammates with Smith, Jeremiah Smith, and Derek Cooper. Actually, I think Derek Cooper had moved after those guys after Jackson graduated. Those guys are going to be big. I mean, their depth is Will Smith. What's he going to give them? I think Ohio State internally may be a little concerned about their interior D line depth, and we'll see. But they need Eder Houston to be a big-time player for them this year. They need him to be every bit of the guy that he was expected to be because they lost Tylik Williams. They lost – all 4 of those guys got drafted, both their interior guys as well. They lost some real Ward Addy difference makers with experience off that team. So Eder Houston, Caden McDonald, those guys are going to have to really come through for Ohio State on their interior. The question is you don't worry about them later in the year, but what's it going to look like game 1?
Yeah. Thank you, Daniel. I think that's a pivotal matchup, though. It really is. I mean, and it depends on. I think a lot of it would depend on, basically how much can you simplify for those guys.
Yeah,
an inexperienced D line, an inexperienced O line for Texas. I think going in, how much can you kind of simplify for that group, and you got a new play caller with those guys on the Ohio State side of things too. All right, let's get to DJ. DJ, thank you. And thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it. Thank you, DJ. It says, any chance Texas could get blown out? I think if people are talking about blowouts, it's been from the Texas side of things that Texas could blow. And I know that's crazy because Texas is the underdog in this game technically. But I swear I've heard more takes that Texas has the talent advantage. And if it could go one way and be really lopsided, then it's the Texas on the upside of that lopsided block. I'm not being cocky or arrogant here. I swear I haven't heard anybody say Ohio State's going to blow Texas out.
One of my vivid memories of the 2024 football season is what Ohio State did to Oregon.
Yeah.
I mean, they blew the drawers off of them before they even got started. That game even got started. And I will say this, Rod, part of it is our locality. And what I mean by that is you're hearing a lot more of the positive Texas vibes. I had somebody on the show on Saturday morning, Tim May, and boy, he's excited. I mean, he thinks every player is a star for the Buckeyes, and so I'm sure there are those up there in Buckeye land,
very true, that
are thinking up in the opposite direction. I hear what you're saying, though. I mean, look, I think anything can happen in this ball game. I really, really do. I mean, look, if Arch catches fire, great. If Julian Sand all of a sudden finds a way to incorporate the receivers.
But getting blown out would mean that defense gets embarrassed. So we talk about things we don't know, and we don't know. You're right. We don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
But one of the things, or some of the things that we do feel very confident about, are on that Texas defense. So getting blown out would require that defense getting abused. And I ain't ready to get on that boat. And not many people are.
Yeah. Hey, Jerry, I do have a question as it relates to that. For Texas to get blown out, I think the Ohio State offensive line is going to have to be a great offensive line. They're going to have to dominate the Texas trenches. Can that happen? I don't know. Okay, I would lean to no. My question, though, is for Ohio State to be able to blow out, they're going to have to be able to run the ball pretty easily. Jerry, you saw James Peoples in high school.
Yeah.
Is he a dude, or is he even in the same category, in your opinion, as a Judkins or a Travion Henderson? Or is that an obvious – and I'm not trying to be knocking because he may be an NFL player, but those two guys had a little something to them. Is he in that category? Is he a notch below? Who would you compare James Peoples to based on what you saw in high school?
There's some similarities to, and they're different builds, but there's similarities to Trey Wisner in him. I think he's a patient guy with really good vision that's going to maximize runs inside 25 yards. Find a way to maximize runs inside 20. Now, it's a different body type, don't get me wrong, but I think there's some similarities. James Peoples is 5'10", 210, so he's a little more compact. But I think in terms of patience, vision, I think there's some similarities with him and Trey Wisner. I was trying to think if there's anybody else Texas played last year. If you're Ohio State fans, you're hoping he's ETN from Georgia. Is what you're hoping. You're hoping he's that level guy because I think could be some similarities there too. That's who you're hoping he is. I'll tell you this: the one way I could see a team getting blown out in a game like this is your young quarterback turns it over 3 or 4 times, a couple of times inside your own 30, maybe a pick 6, puts both good defenses in really bad situations. I think that's where a game like this can get lopsided. The other thing I was going to say, I was just looking up stats while you guys were talking. Who's going to rush the passer for Ohio State? Yes, Sonny Styles had 6 sacks last year. They lost 35 sacks off their team. Is it C.J. Hicks? Is it the transfer Bo Atkinson? For Matt Patricia, where is his pass rush going to come from? 35 sacks is a lot to lose off a team. That means you graduated everybody, all your pass rushers except Sonny Styles. C.J. Hicks, I know they're high on, but he's got to come through in a game. He's kind of grown from the linebacker to the edge guy. But they lost 35 sacks. Who is going to rush the passer for them consistently?
Hey, Jerry, correct me if I'm right or wrong here. James Peoples, Texas did not push on him, and they went after Christian Clark in that class. Is that who is, by the way, similarly sized to James Peoples? Is that accurate?
Yeah, that was accurate. When Texas went on Christian Clark and Jarrett Gibson in that class. Yeah. And I think James Peoples was the third, number 3 or 4 guy for them. They liked him. They offered him, but they pushed different guys in that class.
Yeah. Interesting. Be interesting to see him play. What Ryan Day and those guys saw.
All right. Back to the super chats. Thank you for the super chat. This is from Shin. Thank you, Shin. We appreciate it. It says this will be the first season of my existence where I seriously don't care about our record. Of course, I want wins. However, it's simply natty or bust in my house. Hook 'em. And we appreciate that, Shin. A lot of Longhorn fans feel that way. They're like, you know what? The season's going to be fun. Now that there's a playoff, they kind of feel like some NFL fans are like, no, we just got to get to the playoffs, and then anything can happen. And they want to see a playoff run by Sark past the Final Four, which is where he's gotten the last couple of years. So, Shan, I feel you, brother. That's the standard. The standard is the standard. Sark always says.
Yeah, I mean, that's not me, but I get where people are coming from.
Yeah.
It's not natty or bust for me. I think it's getting harder and harder to win a national championship. You got to play 16 or 17 games. And I think health is so. I mean, I just keep going back to, if you had a bye last year, Cam Williams doesn't get hurt against Clemson. How does that change you after that? Some people say, well, he could have got hurt against Arizona State. Well, I know this. He wouldn't have got hurt against Clemson and missed the Arizona State game.
Yeah.
So, and he was clearly not a healthy player for the Ohio State game. So it's hard, man. I mean, look, Carson Beck, even though he hadn't had a good year, he gets knocked out for the season of the SEC championship game. I mean, there were impactful injuries. Injuries are so impactful in longer seasons. I'm not there. My whole deal is I want to make the playoffs again and let the chips fall where they may, see where you're at health-wise at that point after a long season, and just go try. If you have to host, hopefully you're host. If you don't have a bye, hopefully you're hosting in the first round of the playoffs. Better than that would get a bye. I know everybody's like, well, the teams that had a bye lost last year. I don't care. I'd rather have a bye. Give my team more time to get healthy. And if I lose, oh well.
All right, guys, if you're looking to go to this game, Texas fans, I'm excited to see the Longhorns myself take on the Buckeyes this weekend, which is why I wanted to give everyone a shout about SeatGeek. If you're still looking for tickets with more than 35 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. College football is back. We saw that this weekend. The NFL is right around the corner. SeatGeek has your back. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting a good deal. Look for the green dots. Green means good, red means bad. Plus, every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. Of course, we've got a deal for OTF fans. Use code ONTexas10 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with promo code ONTexas10. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you to the folks at SeatGeek. And I need to show you this. I don't know if Matt's going to be able to bring this up on the screen. But guys, I'm literally looking at the SeatGeek app right now. A pair of tickets.
Nice.
On the 50.
It's pretty
fun. All right, 45. What do you think they're going for?
Oh.
Pair of tickets, 3,600.
How much? 3,600. Oh, that's lower than I thought.
For a pair, right at, it looks like the 45.
I was gonna say close. I was gonna say close to 5G. So that's pretty good, actually. It's not bad.
Oh yeah, it's pretty good. It looks like a Super Bowl ticket. I think I get that Rod B money in there.
No, that's how you know Rod B don't never pay for no tickets. That's how you know Rod B. I have no concept of it. I've never paid for tickets. I always get hooked up, so I appreciate that. That's what SeatGeeks try to do for you. They try to hook you up. So go check it out. All right, thank you for that. All right, let's get back to the super chats. Joshy, he says, have you guys noticed? Thank you, Josh, for the super chat, and also great hanging out with you at the Texas tour we had this past weekend. Says, have you guys noticed that national media has oversold the Arch has only started 2 games, but don't mention Saiyan has not started a game?
Well, no, I think anything Arch related is going to be oversold. One way or the other, the good, the bad, the clickbait positive, the clickbait negative. I just think that's where Arch is going to be. And the reality for Arch is, look, he had a start. He had 2 starts last year. One was against Mississippi State, who I don't know if they had the worst or second or third worst pass defense in America, but they were terrible. Yeah. Right? This is the first time he's ever faced a defense. Mm-hmm. That's the reality for Arch Manning, and it's going to be on the road. It's the first time he's ever faced a legitimate defense because it wasn't the 2 starts. right? That was ULM and Mississippi State. It was terrible. So the reality is, for both of these guys, it's the first time they've ever played a real defense. And people are like, well, they go against the defense in practice. That's fine. That's different than when the walls are closing in and your clock's going off and the noise is loud and you have to go make a play. And
let me ask you this, Jerry. How many times Arch also came in and got hit a little bit as a runner against A&M?
Yeah.
OSU knocked him out of the game. So he's taken some licks. How many hits in the last 24 months has Julian Sayin really taken?
Yeah.
Like 5?
Yeah.
So I just want to put that's a thing, right? I mean, we all know if you watch football, I mean, sometimes guys, when they start getting hit, things change. We'll see what happens. Sayin's a little slight of build too, particularly for his age. I mean, because of his age, primarily. I think he'll eventually get bigger, but he's got a little bit of that Quinn Ewers build to him at a young age, which is just doesn't have all that armor, as Rod likes to call, whereas Arch is a significantly bigger guy.
He's thick. Yeah.
Over for the game Saturday.
Under Arch's Texas gets 10 million viewers this year. Yeah. I think over. I agree with him on that. I agree. Jerry's right. I mean, they averaged 8 million viewers per game last year, and so we're predicting the Arch bump is 2+ million viewers.
Well,
per game.
Yeah, let's run down the other 11 o'clock kicks. It's Texas at Ohio State, Syracuse at Tennessee on ABC, right? Mississippi State at Southern Miss, Florida Atlantic at Maryland, Ball State at Purdue, Northwestern at Tulane. I mean, I can keep going here. I think Texas Ohio State's going over 10 million.
I agree with that. I'll take that bet. I'm with Jerry on that. All right, Buddy Pal, Chief Big Guy, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it. So would you boom kickoffs through the end zone or kick it around the 3 to 5 and rely on coverage to hold them to the 15 to 20 yard line? Ooh, strategy. Love it, Buddy Pal.
I'm not letting those guys touch the ball if I don't. I mean, look, those guys they've got phenomenal players. With the balls in there, with the ball in their hand, you don't want to. You just don't. Why would you tempt fate?
Yeah,
is that a tone setter, Rod? And I'm just being a wussy. I mean, maybe that's a tone setter. I'm not going to be the first. I go back to this. Remember when 05 they kicked to Raymond Taylor, and Raymond Taylor almost gets a safety on him. But that's the kind of guy you just don't – he ends up taking it, out to the 40, 45-yard line on a kick return? You just don't – guys like that, you just don't tempt fate, man. That's my opinion. And I think Ohio State has guys you don't tempt fate with. But that's my opinion.
Texas probably watched the spring game, and they saw Mylan Graham's ability. I'm not sure they're just willy-nilly kicking it to him and seeing what happens. Now, Will Stone's experience, but – I think a lot of it depends on how the game's going as well. Like if you're down 14-3 and you kick it off, maybe you see if you can jar a ball loose, right? Maybe you see if you can get lucky and pin somebody. I think the way the game's going is part of it as well. But I'm not giving anybody a chance to return a kickoff. Not that has talent like a Mylan Graham running around. Yeah. Because I'm here to tell you, like, everybody's talking about Jeremiah Smith, and they're talking about Carnell Tate and even Brandon Ennis, who was overrated coming out of high school. That was obviously anybody. But Mylan Graham is the guy that had a huge spring game. You got to watch that guy's speed and acceleration. He's really talented kid.
Okay.
It's supposed to be their number 5 receiver, too.
That's wild. That's the best room. It's the best receiving room in college football. I mean, that's how it is. And that means you're not a good player just because you're number 5 in that room. All right, Syrup Sailor, thank you for the super chat. Is Jaden Chapman healthy? That's what he wants to know.
So Jaden Chapman had an offseason knee surgery, and my understanding is that while he is 100% back at practice and going through practice, asking him to play a full game right now would be a little much. And so, yes, he's healthy. Is he 100% or 75 plays good? We may or may not find out. We'll have to wait and see.
All right. Thank you, Sir Sandler, for the super chat. Chris is up next here. Chris says, Arch is favored to win the Heisman, but I keep hearing cautious takes about having a first-year starter quarterback. Which is it, fellas? Is he ready to dominate?
Look, he should not be the favorite to win the Heisman. I think that's part of all the Arch stuff we talk about. He should not be the favorite to win the Heisman going into this season. That's ludicrous. That's clickbait. I know it's coming from Vegas, but no. The answer to that's no. There's too many guys who've played a lot. I mean, Cade Klubnik has unbelievable weapons with experience around him in 3 years as a starter. Lenora Sellers could put on a cape this year and go win a Heisman in his second-year starter if they have enough around him. Garrett Nussmeier has a big game at Clemson. I mean, Nussmeier and Klubnik, whoever goes off in that game is going to jump to the favorite of the Heisman race.
Oh, interesting. Unless something happens in Columbus earlier that day.
Yeah.
Arch
is a first-year starter. I mean, I just think it's –
See, here's what I would say. I would challenge Jerry on this. I don't think it's clickbait because it's reality. He is the favorite. Whether we think it's people's money is smart.
They're taking people's money, yeah.
Yeah, it is a different story. I don't think the smart bet, in my opinion, would not be on him winning the Heisman.
No.
But, I don't know who's going to win the Heisman. I think that there is a element of folks that are rooting against him to kind of fall flat on his face. I mean, just because he has so much ballyhoo before he's really started more than 2 games. And so when you see that people kind of spinning both ways, I think they're just spinning the yarn up just to watch it all hopefully fall down or exceed. Like there's no room. That's what I would say. There's no room for Arch Manning to go 8-4.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
nobody will entertain it. Nobody will talk.
I mean, that is the problem, is that there's no room for him to just be a normal first-year starting quarterback.
No.
And that's unfortunate in some ways, but in others, I mean, he's really, really talented. So you have to mix the two and find a happy median.
And to add to it just really quickly, but what also hurts it is that in that very small sample size that college football fans got, not just Texas football fans, analytically, it was extraordinary. Like analytically, it was like, oh, he was awesome. He was great. But then you got to look at the opponent, all that kind of stuff. And we don't leave room for nuance in our conversation. So it's just, he's going to, be the number 1 overall pick and win the Heisman. And I think he does have that ceiling, but yeah, he's also a first-year starting quarterback too. Chris, thank you. That was a good question. Sean here with a question, super chat. Thank you, Sean. He says, since Auburn actions can reclaim the 08 as a title now, since Auburn, they retroactively went back and cashed in. I don't know how many, 4 now. They get 4 more. How many national titles they gained?
They gained 7 as a program in all sports, I think.
Okay, something like that. So just got some national. Listen, you know why I'm not mad at them? Because they got to be in the shadow of Alabama, and they got a lot of national titles in sports that count. So
some of those Alabama national titles are disputed as well. By the way, I want to put that out there, and that could lead them. But it's Alabama's been claiming those for decades. This feels more Aggie-like, where Aggies go and claim championships from. Here's the other issue with these folks. Nobody is still alive
to dispute it.
A 1911 national championship. How do you go back and claim it? It's like, I mean, it's unbelievable. And I will say this. I mean, Auburn had a great team in, was it 03, Jerry, where they had Cadillac Williams and Jason Campbell and Ronnie Brown?
Yeah. I think that was 04 when USC beat Oklahoma 55-19.
But Auburn that's that Auburn team that we're talking about that wanted part of the I think they would have been boat raced by USC.
100%. Adrian Peterson rushed for 2,000 yards and they got annihilated. Annihilated.
I thought Auburn played really good defense. Auburn didn't play an offense like that. And I think they played the next year. Played really close the next year. And Japan just claimed victory in World War II. My thought process, however, on all of it is that I hate stuff like that. Yeah. I absolutely hate it. If you're going to debate or cry foul, do what Central Florida did whenever they went like 13-0 and claim it right then.
Yeah, do it. Yeah.
Don't come back after everybody's dead and gone. I'm serious.
No,
everybody's dead and gone, and you want to.
Okay. Dirty business. That's a dirty business right there, man.
Yeah, that's why I am really happy that Texas hasn't done that. I'll say that because it feels very wanton, I guess is a good word.
I like that.
Gross.
Gross.
It feels like
it is.
Like you're wanting something that's not really yours, but you want it so bad you're
never earned it. You never earned the national title. Why would you want something you didn't earn like that? That's
what I'm saying.
You're not stealing it, but you're close.
Yeah. The Aggies did worse. They did it where people still. I mean, they took ones when people couldn't even argue with them because they weren't alive.
But I like that you said. I at least have the scones to do it while people can debate you real time, like Central Florida did. It's like, no, people are going to argue and say you're full of it. It's like, all right, but
we laughed at them when they did it, right?
Yeah.
Make sure we laugh at you next time. I mean, don't come back 30 years later, 25 years later.
All right, Jonah Williams enthusiast here says, I can see pass pro being tough at first, but we will be able to run the ball against Ohio State all day long. Cool. All right. If that's the case, Texas is going to win the game. If Texas can run the ball versus Ohio State, they're going to win the game.
Well, yeah, if Texas rushes for 160, 175, they're going to win the game. And the flip side for both teams, because they both have, and I'm not saying these guys are going to go in a fetal position from a play calling standpoint, but there's going to be a period, there's going to be a part of this game and game plan that where they don't want to put their guys in terrible positions at quarterback early in this game, put them in bad spots. There's going to be some, and that doesn't mean Sark's not going to be aggressive at times, but there's going to be an element to that in this game. I really believe that. So whoever can go for 150 plus on the ground, I think has a huge advantage in this game. Think about last year. Ohio State had 81 and Texas had 58 yards rushing in that semifinal game. If anybody gets the 150, game over.
Nobody's getting unless there's a big popped off run, though, nobody's getting a 150. Neither team. That's my opinion. I will say this. I think that Texas had a really good run defense last year, right? Yep. Year before that led the nation. The way Texas treated Jeremiah Smith last year opened up the Ohio State run game. It really did. And so I kind of wonder if Texas concedes a little bit of the run game, Rod and Jerry, in an attempt to keep Jeremiah Smith looking at least human instead of superhuman.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, as good as Ryan Wingo's been this camp, and he's been tremendous, I don't know that anybody scares anybody in college football more than Jeremiah Smith. Enough to change their defense for someone.
Yep.
That's just my take on that.
Good stuff, guys. All right, getting back to it. The Juju Man, thank you for the super chat. Says, Rod, thanks for the all-time DBU list. One of my faves, Brian Westbrook, was at number 16. Works for me. Has his hit on Notre Dame running back in 96. Woo! Yes, I did. I saw that recently. I don't know. It came on my timeline, actually. I saw that, Juju, man. He said it got Memorial Stadium rocking. He wants us to watch it on YouTube. Yes, I've seen it several times. I will watch it after this. We are done. Get me pumped up. He said, wants to know who on the current team, on the current roster, can hit a la Brian Westbrook. Thank you, Juju, man. Appreciate it. Who's the hitter? Is it
Dude, that remains one of the best hits I've ever seen. I mean, he like full on launched.
He launched. He was like Superman.
Yeah, he launched in that. Is it Jelani McDonald, Jerry? There is a chance that Anthony Hill could hit like that if he got the right crack on it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and the right angle on it.
Yeah. But I don't know that we have. There's not a Derek Williams would be one.
That's a good one, actually. He's a great alley cat. He does come downhill at a really nice angle. That's a good one. Actually, I like that Derek Williams one, guys. That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Texas missed him last year, and it showed up in games like Ohio State when they really missed him. I mean, I was just looking at the box score from last year. Henderson and Judkins had 15. They didn't have a lot of carries. 15 for 78. They averaged 5 yards a pop. Then they had the 75-yard screen. So they had some. They put up some numbers in that game last year without a ton of touches. The crazy thing is Wisner and Blue actually had more carries in that game than Henderson and Judkins did combined. Difference was Texas at 21 for 62 there. But it'll be interesting to see. I'm very interested to see what Ohio State does offensively for Julian Sand in this game. The more I've thought about this game, driving around the state, what they do for him in this game. C.J. Donaldson, a big bruiser of a running back. What's their game? What's Ryan Day? It's really going to be Ryan Day's game plan. It's not going to be Heartline. What is Ryan Day going to do for Julian Sand in this game? How does he play this game? If the reports coming out of Columbus are that they are very confident in their offensive line.
Yeah. Those are the reports.
Those are the reports. Now, everybody's been through this before. Like sometimes, hey, you go into the season, our offensive line looks unbelievable. Then you get into the season, it's like, wow, we had a big drop off on the D line. Maybe we're not as good as we thought. So who knows where it's actually going to be? I know what Mello in the chat's going to say. The best offensive line in America is in Columbus. I get it. That's what he says about everything, and I'm glad you're here. But it's going to be really interesting to see how Ryan Day attacks this game with Julian Sand.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's really gonna try to condense this game a little bit and run the football and let Julian Sand make sure Julian Sand does not get in situations where they're worried about him getting drifty eyes, being in positions to really force footballs.
Yeah,
and you can't be too conservative, but I think there's going to be a little bit of that.
If Ohio State would have lost that game to Texas last year, just an if, and you're Ryan Day, wouldn't you have gone back to your post-game press conference and say, look at your stat sheet and say I averaged more than 5 yards a carry?
Oh, yeah.
And I only rushed it 15 times. What in the hell am I doing as a coach?
Yeah.
And so as a do-over, he gets another shot here against the Longhorns. Does he force the run a little bit more this year because I theoretically think he should.
Yeah.
Like, especially if Texas is going to play Jeremiah Smith any way they did a year ago. If I'm Ryan Day, I'm like, okay, I need to take advantage of that.
Agreed.
Better than I did a year ago. Because he had the advantage and he didn't really take it.
And he had it last year with a quarterback that could run too.
Yeah. And a bigger quarterback too, by the way.
Bigger quarterback too. Yeah.
I think Sayan's going to end up being a better thrower by far, but a bigger runner. Yeah. That's interesting. But if I would have been an irate Ohio State fan last year when you're averaging 5 yards plus a pop and your running backs only get 15 carries. Like Woody Hayes would have come out of his grave. Well, let's put it that way.
Now here's
R.G. Griffin probably got 15 carries in the first quarter.
Now here's the Ohio State fan. Gary, thanks for coming in again, Gary. Forcing the run is how Ohio State lost to Michigan. That's what the Ohio State fans are saying after the Michigan game. So we're both saying, hey, they should run it more. Ohio State fans are like, no, please no.
Yeah.
Well, did they?
That's interesting.
Look, I'll just say this.
Basically, what he's saying is it's a trap. Like, basically, the defense is luring you into a trap. If you're going to run the ball, you realize you're taking your best player out of the game.
Yeah.
You want to run the ball? Then you're taking your best player and your best position room out of the game.
Yeah.
And as a defender, I got a defensive coordinator. I'm fine with that. Let's do it. Then that will solve the other problem. But you just solved my biggest problem, which is Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah.
And I think that's the trap that you fall into. Like you said, it's 5 yards of carry. Why don't you take it? It's like, well, because there's Jeremiah Smith and the best wide receiving core in the country out there. Why did you? So I think that's the trap. I don't know what
you run a stun up front, and all of a sudden it's a 0 yard carry. So it's the whole effective carry conversation where are they, even though they average 5 yards a pop, maybe one carry was 1 yard and the next one was 10. So really one was an effective run play and the other one was ineffective.
Yeah.
So
a lot of this comes down to, as well as kind of your plan for this game, Rod. Do you run it a little early? And if you have success, you're like, aha, now see what you do with our wide receivers.
Yeah, because then the entire playbook's wide open then. If you
that's the question.
Yeah.
If we have success running it early, all right, now what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I really think both of the after the script is gone, the way this game is going to be dictated is going to be the pass rush on these quarterbacks.
If both teams can run
defense and pass rush,
if both teams can run it, then you might actually have something more of a shootout.
Yeah. If
both teams can just run it, because if they can run it, then they're also going to be able to throw it on them, because that's just Sark's offensive. I think his offensive outlook is kind of built on the passing game, being able to attack that way. And then they got the best wide receiving core in college football. So it's interesting. All right, super chats. Getting back to it. One with a super chat says, "At Rod, how will Texas start this game offensively? What's Sark's 15-play script or whatever 40-play script, right? Whatever it is. I do think I think he wants to get the running game going. That's ideal. We just talked about that. And he'll be going up against a defensive line for Ohio State's got a lot of question marks. And I think also he wants to get Arch confident early. Right? So, yeah, you want to hand it off, but you want Arch to – it's Arch's offense, baby. So you want Arch to also be confident. He was really good at getting Quinn in the groove. So I think a lot of the offensive script will be, let's get the run – see what works in the run game. And then let's get Arch confident. Let's get him throwing in a rhythm. Let's see how we can get him into some easy opportunity throws, as Sark likes to call them, opportunities for easy completions. I think that's what the script's going to be built on. So that bootleg that we always see when he comes in the game, that'll be in there. Your split wide zones will be in there. Will they try to take a shot in the first few plays? I think that all depends on how the play calling is going early on for Sark.
I don't want to see it. I'll just say this. I would like to see them move the football a little bit. And the shot play is nice, but the first time he drops back, I don't want it to be the first time that a left tackle and a right tackle are talking to one another with Ohio State on the other side. I mean, I think there needs to be some time in there.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
Hey, by the way, assuming the stat I just looked up is right, it just got me thinking about it. Texas averaged 72.8 plays per game last year. Ohio State ran 62. That's a massive difference.
So they shortened the game.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. Yeah.
No way they're not. There's no way they're not going to be thinking like that against Texas.
You do want to limit Sark's play calling, though. We all agree with that. That's been a good strategy against Texas, too. Just limit the amount of plays Sark has to beat you because at one point he's going to find a way, usually offensively. Okay, before we get back to the super chats here, let's thank our sponsor one more time here before we get to the end of tonight's live stream. Thank you to our friends over at Rogue Shop, rogueshop.com. Use that discount code. You see it right there on your screen on Texas. Bringing real plant medicine back to its roots. They ship nationwide, no matter where you are in this great country of ours. Our friends over at Rogue Shop can get their fantastic products to you. Make sure to use that promo code, like I said, on Texas. They have it all from oils and creams to flour, gummies, and our friends over at Rogue Shop, like I said, they ship nationwide. So no matter where you are, they can get their products to you. And I had a friend recently here at On Texas Football tell me they recently have gotten some items at Rogue Shop that are helping them sleep a whole lot better. So thanks to Rogue Shop, they sleep like a baby. So maybe it's for you, it's sleep deprivation, maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's just random aches and pains you're dealing with from battling Father Time. My friends over at Rogue Shop have a variety of different items to help you battle those ailments successfully. So check them out at rogueshop.com. All right, getting back to the super chats here, guys. Milk here, thank you for the super chat, says, good evening, fellas, from ETX, fellas. What a character Bobby had on yesterday. Tim made such a humble guy. Jerry, what's your thoughts on what Tim said?
Well, I think he's mellow in the chat. I think it's mellow in the chat.
No, that's not. They're different guys.
Okay. Look at I'm confident too. Yeah, Texas fans are confident. I think people who cover Ohio State are confident. They won a national championship last year. They know they recruit top 5 recruiting classes every year. They know they have arguably they're maybe the 2 best players in college football in this game as far as NFL draft prospects, and Colin Simmons and Jeremiah Smith, even though neither are draft eligible. Ohio State has a ton of talent. Ryan Day got over the hump, so that part is gone from the Ohio State fan base's mind, because until he won it last year, he wasn't the guy ultimately. But now that's gone. But all the talent they have on campus, I get why Ohio State's confident, and I get why Texas is confident going to the. If you're a Texas fan, you say, well, Sark dialed it up at Bama and he dialed it up at Michigan the last 2 years, so Sark's going to dial it up again. I get where all the confidence, and Texas had best edge rush guy in the country, maybe best linebacker in the country. Arch Manning's is going to play really well in his first start. Michael Taft. I get it from both sides why everybody's confident. So it's not surprising to me necessarily. It may have been a little surprising to Bobby how confident, but it's not surprising to me when you're coming off a national championship. You're finally behind your coach, who maybe you weren't before. They recruit at such a high level. They have Jeremiah Smith, who makes you feel like you can win every game. And they know that playing at Ohio State, like the last loss in the season, home opening season loss for Ohio State is 1999 to Miami. They got a lot of reasons to be confident going August 30th. They do.
So y'all know in our preseason show, I picked Ohio State to win this game, right?
Yep.
All right. I felt like they were the better team last year, even though Texas gave them hell in that game, in my opinion. I just felt like they were a little bit more physical, had better overall fronts. I mean, just a couple different things. And then they had the wide receiver that could make teams commit 2 people to him on each play. I mean, that takes another defender out of the game. I think that what I would say is if Texas walks into Columbus and beats Ohio State, I will never, ever pick against Steve Sarkeesian early in the season in a big game. Ever. I mean, not after doing what he did against Alabama, not after what he did against Ohio State. Hell, not after what he did against Alabama at home 4 years ago when he didn't have the team. Mm-hmm. And he did it with a backup quarterback for 3 quarters. Mm. So if for whatever reason, we were talking about Ryan Day and them feeling, if Steve Sarkeesian is able to do that, I would tell you I will never pick against Texas early in the season again, as long as Steve Sarkeesian is the head football coach. There would be nobody in their sane mind would do it. I feel a little
No.
Would you?
No, it'd be like picking against Tom Herman in a bowl game at Texas. I mean, hell, Tom Bo Herman's coming to play, baby.
What was it? The Alamo Bowl.
Yeah. All right, getting back to it. We got a few.
Hey, by the way, how big of a game is this for Sark? Because, look, Sark won at Michigan, won at Alabama, right? Only double-digit loss for Nick Saban ever at home. But how big of a game is this for Sark? Last year, those games sting. The next time Sark goes up against Kalen DeBoer is going to have a lot of meaning for Sark. After the Alamo Bowl and the college football semifinal. How big of it? We talk about the players all the time. We don't talk about the coaches. How big of a game is this for Sark?
Yeah, I agree with that. It's right. I mean, you're looking at him taking the next step to being a.
Well, if Ohio State wins the game, what are they going to do? Well, you know what they're going to put on the screen? 0-2 against DeBoer, 0-2 against Kirby, 0-2 against Ryan Day. That's what they're going to paste all over the screens on ESPN and everything. Pretty big game for Sark.
Good point, Jeff. Justin here with a super chat. Thank you, Justin. We appreciate the super chat. Says, how challenging will it be for Julian Saying facing the Texas defense? Extremely tough first start, and I see Texas winning the rushing battle. Oh, if they win the rush, win the rushing battle, it could just be ugly, and neither team really rushes for much. But if Texas can run the ball effectively, I just don't doubt they're gonna win. I don't assume they're just gonna be able to go in there on the road and just have their way in the running game, because Texas doesn't really have their way in the running game. That's not what we've seen oftentimes from them in elite matchups. Now, they did it against Clemson, but most of the times in some of those tough matchups, Texas has struggled to run the ball consistently. They pop a few, but then they've had to make plays in the passing game. I expect that to be the case, but for Julian Saying, yeah, that's a tough first start. I expect his cage to be rattled. If his cage is not rattled and he doesn't have those big eyes, and I'm gonna be a little disappointed, because Texas
at some point, but Texas defense should be able to throw a lot at him, because they have veterans at every level. They have veterans who've been in that system a long time, and they've had continuity. Ohio State won't be able to dig as deep in their bag, offensively or defensively, in my opinion, just because they've lost a lot continuity-wise. All right, with the coordinators, and they just lost a lot, period, because they won a national title and everybody left. I mean, they had such a great team. Texas still has a lot of continuity back, especially on defense. I would try my best to throw exotic, wild, freaky looks at that young man, Julian Saying, when obviously you can do that on third and long situations. I would like to rattle his cage in that sense.
That's why I think first down defense is the whole key for Texas. If you play well and you win on first down, then you have the ability then to, Rod, to your point, to put Saying in as many uncomfortable positions as possible. If they run the ball, that's why I just wonder if they're going to try to run it a little bit early on first down in this game. Not to be, run it at Colin Simmons too, a little bit in this game early with their their left tackle that they love and they're raving about that moved over the left tackle. That's where I think this game, that's kind of what I'm looking for early in this game. Not super conservative. You're not taking Jeremiah Smith and putting him on the sidelines or anything. But I do think there's going to be a thought for Ryan Day that, okay, we need to get Saying comfortable in this game and not make sure he's not uncomfortable from the start. So how's Texas play on first down? And does Ohio State, are they a little more conservative on first down? Whether that's screen game or that's running it at Colin Simmons a little bit, I think I can see that being part of their plan early to make sure Saying's not putting uncomfortable positions right out of the gate due to their play calling versus Texas winning defensively.
David with a super chat. Thank you, David. Says, will we see a sloppy first half like we saw in Dublin yesterday?
Whew. God, I hope
well, they flew 8 hours for a rain game on a soccer field with a wet football. No. I mean, it's not supposed to rain. I think the rain had a lot to do with that. And, well, I mean, look, what was Dylan Edwards fumbled the punt because there's still smoke going from the start of the game, like the entrance of the game. Like, was his vision? Like, I don't think it's going to be a sloppy game like that. Personally, I think that was a wet football, damp football.
Yeah.
In those conditions over there, that had a hand in that being a sloppy game as far as turnovers go.
All right. Thank you, David, for the super chat. Sugarcane Daddy, not the crop, says Jerry. Wash your mouth out with soap, Jerry. Arch is going to win it and is going to pay for my trip back to Vegas to collect my winnings. So I'm sure Sugarcane Daddy already put some money on him to win the Heisman and win the national title and all that. So.
I'm not saying he can't. I'm just saying I don't think he should be the favorite preseason. I think there's a lot of guys that could win the Heisman this year, but I don't think he should be the favorite preseason. That's my whole thought.
Yeah. He's definitely got it's crazy just because usually you don't see Vegas kind of jump totally on it, but because Archmania guarantees clicks and hits and bets and everything else, even Vegas is like, nah, man, we all in on this. And it helped. I think there's the most money on Texas to win the Natty and also on him to win the Heisman too. So it's working.
I mean, if Kay Klubnik has a big game and they beat LSU, with the talent he has around him, look at the rest of their schedule. Klubnik, if he has a big game and they beat LSU, look at his schedule. He's going to be hard to beat in the Heisman race now.
All right, Daniel Erb here says, what's our depth chart on the O-line against Ohio State, guys?
It depends, Daniel, on a number of factors. If Trevor Gooseby goes, I don't think there's any question about what the lineup is, and that's Gooseby at left tackle. Left guard will be obviously Nato, Humio Zulu, and then we'll have center would be Cole Hudson, right guard DJ Campbell, right tackle Brandon Baker. Backups would be Jaden Chapman at left tackle. Left guard will be Connor Stroh, center Connor Robertson, right guard Nate Kibble. Those two flip-flop, by the way, Stroh and Kibble about halfway through fall camp. And then at right tackle would be Nick Brooks. That's the rotation at this point for the depth chart if Trevor Gooseby is able to go.
All right. Thank you, Daniel, for the super chat. Hosey11 says, F it, I'm claiming 08 and 09. Hey, man. You know what? Do what you do. It's all right. 08 on 09. Hey, Texas was that damn close both years. All right, Texas football.
Hey, question for the chat, since this is a part of the deal. Who's the last first-year starting quarterback to win the Heisman? Chat.
First-year starting quarterback, is it Troy Smith?
No.
It's not Johnny Manziel.
Kyler Murray.
Nope. It was before Kyler.
Johnny?
What did you say?
It was before Kyler.
So ask the question again then.
Did Johnny?
The last quarterback to win the Heisman is a first-year starter. RJ got it. Jameis Winston, 2013.
Jameis Winston.
He was the first one to ever do it?
No, he was the last one. The last quarterback.
They must have had a run.
He won it his first year, didn't he? As a starter.
I think no. He technically had started games at A&M, so it probably doesn't count.
Okay.
Technicality, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right. Texas football Hareo says, just finished rewatching the whole season. Wingo and Moore had more drops than I remember. Some big ones. Were those one-off issues?
Moore had a couple right in that Mississippi State time frame, right when Jonte Cook the team.
Yeah, the deep ball too.
Yeah.
Wingo, I am so intrigued based on how he's performed this fall camp and what we've heard. I'm so intrigued whether or not this offseason LASIK surgery really fundamentally changes it.
Seriously.
Aren't you like?
Yeah. It has to improve it.
I mean, he's got the body to be a 50-50 ball catcher. He's shown he can be. He's got the speed. He's got the strength. If that really fundamentally changes him, I mean, we need to go put an eye doctor on staff at Texas.
Well, I've told that story many times, but the fact that that's not the second thing after the EKG that happens for these kids is to give them real, not go for your driver's license and tell me what the third line is, like dilating eyes. That should be a part of this process. There's way too much money on the line. Imagine the difference of going 7-5 and 9-3, 3 drops. And what if those guys like Lima Swede had a little bit of an issue? I asked the Brenham staff because he double caught a lot of footballs. I asked the Brenham staff in high school, y'all had this like tested his eyes, like for real. Like tested his like anytime I see guys double catching a lot, I kind of say, okay, before I say bad hands, have we really checked their vision? Not driving test their vision, but like really tested their vision. Could you imagine if your left tackle had a little bit of a vision issue and you didn't know it? I mean, that to me, like once these players report after the EKG, after the heart test out, that is the second thing I'd do. I'd want to make sure my guys can see.
That's a great commercial there, right there, Jerry. We should just slap on like there's an endorsement right at the end, and that's both some laser eye surgery, laser guy surgery, whatever. You got it. That's great.
Yeah, they got everything else now, right?
That's money. I mean, that's you convinced me. I don't know why they're not doing it. All right, Pat Gee says y'all have nearly doubled subscribers in the past couple of weeks. Thanks for the videos every day. Thank you, Pat Gee, for supporting and for watching. We really appreciate all you guys' support. A couple of questions here as we approach the end of our live stream. Blake May said, thank you for the super chat. Blake says, do you worry about Arch liking to take contact too much on the run? He mentioned it felt good to get hit last year. See y'all Friday. Blake May, this is interesting because I'll tell you what, you know who else said that? And it stands out to me because I remember them saying like, oh yeah, they kind of like getting hit when they're, on the run a little bit and it wakes them up, gets the blood going. I remember Andrew Luck saying that. Yep.
Grandpa Manning says, get down or get out of bounds.
Yep.
Arch every time he hangs up the phone with him.
Right.
I do think I do worry about it actually, Blake. Because I think that especially in his role last year where he came in as that red zone or short yardage guy, he was trying to play big. That was his role.
Yep.
And I hope he considers the repercussions more this year.
Well, and he's not a stop start twitch up guy. He is more of a guy that will test really, really well and runs really, really well. But there's a difference between that and being a shifty guy that avoids hits.
Mm-hmm.
Arch is not a shifty guy that avoids hits. He's going to take hits. So he's got to be smart.
That's good stuff. All right, last one here from Isaiah. It says, what unit wins the game for us? I have a defensive line stepping up. I'll say this, come full circle, Isaiah, because we started talking about this conversation. I said, you got to win the numbers game versus their wide receivers in their passing game. But I don't want you at a numbers disadvantage there, which means you're going to probably be at a numbers disadvantage most times in the front. So you have a lighter box versus their run game. Can you stop the run versus Ohio State with a light box? That's all about your D-line. You've been one of the best in the college football at stopping the run with a light box the last couple of years. But the Kim Kardashian, Nicki Minaj, Serena Williams size, Cardi B size, Megan Thee Stallion size, but is you've had Vernon Broughton, Alfred Collins, Byron Murphy, Devondre Sweat. You've had those guys in your system, and now they're out. But you have some guys you brought in via the transfer portal. Can they also be a force in the run game versus with a light box? Like, that's the question, too, because you might have to play it that way. So I'm with you on the D-line, Isaiah.
I'm same. First down, run defense, pass rush.
Yep.
That's everything for Texas in this game, in my opinion.
I think the defensive line needs to step up. I do agree with that. The Texas is going to have to make some plays on offense. I'm going to go with the wide receiver and quarterback. I still believe that if Arch Manning goes 15 of 30, Texas loses. Arch Manning goes 20 of 30. Get back to me. So, and Ohio State's there's no gimmies there, right? I mean, so I'm a little different than you guys. I do think that the Texas defensive unit has to be there, but I'm just going to say this: I feel strongly that Arch Manning is going to have a good football game on Saturday.
Oh, by the way, I don't think any quarterback can poop the bed and win the game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I will say that. But if Texas doesn't win the line of scrimmage, they're toast.
Yeah.
On defense. Over.
Love it. All right. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. As usual, we appreciate all the super chats, guys. And I'm sorry we couldn't get to all the questions, but if we missed any of your questions, you can direct them to the gentleman at Coffee and Football bright and early tomorrow morning. These two gentlemen, Jerry Hamilton and Bobby Burton, bright and early, 8:15 a.m. You want to join them. They'll be talking plenty of Texas football. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to Rogue Shop, rogueshop.com. Use that discount code on Texas with them as well. And thank you to our friends at SeatGeek as well for sponsoring. There you go. Boom. Use that promo code as well on Texas 10 with our friends over at SeatGeek. So thank you very much for them as well, to them as well. And also thank you to Matthew behind the scenes. He's a real MVP, folks, twisting and tweaking it out. Nobody does it better than my man Matthew. So please show him some love. For Matthew and for Jerry and for Bobby, I'm Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. Until next time, thank you guys for all the support and participation. Hook 'em horns.
Hook 'em horns.